In less than 2 months, the wedding guests who had dragged a black man out of a ballroom were sitting in a courtroom, watching a judge grant an injunction against the venue that helped them do it. They looked at his dark green work polo, still damp, diesel on the hands, mud on the boots. One guest put a hand flat on his chest. Another gripped his elbow from behind. 2 security guards finished the job. 200 people watched. Not one said stop. The bride's mother's voice caught on a security radio.
He is a garbage man. Get him out before photos.
The man they threw out collects garbage for a living. He is also the groom's brother, and his father is a sitting county judge. This wasn't about a polo shirt. This was about 6 years on a garbage truck and 4 overtime Saturdays to buy a tuxedo he never got to wear for his own brother's wedding. Have you ever been judged before you spoke a single word? Drop it in the comments. This is where it begins. Saturday morning, June 28th, Belmont Springs, Virginia. Gregory Owens wakes at 5:15. A rescue mutt named Rudy noses his palm off the mattress. The apartment is 1 bedroom, East Belmont. Clean floors, second-hand couch, a bookshelf heavy with James Baldwin and motorcycle repair manuals. On the closet door, still in its dry cleaning bag, hangs a tuxedo he picked up 3 days ago. Today, his half-brother Derek gets married. Gregory is the best man. He brews coffee in a pot that gurgles like it's arguing with itself, pours a bowl of kibble for Rudy, stands in the kitchen doorway and looks at the tuxedo. He bought it with overtime money, 4 consecutive Saturdays on the early route. Tuxedo money doesn't come easy on a garbage collector's salary, but Gregory doesn't complain about things that cost effort. He complains about things that cost dignity. There's a difference. Gregory Owens collects garbage for the city of Belmont Springs. Has for 6 years. He drives the truck on the Elm to Oak route starting at 5:30 every morning. When a crew member calls in sick, Gregory climbs down and pulls the bins himself. His back aches most Mondays. His hands carry a permanent ghost of diesel no matter how many times he scrubs. The nails never come fully clean. He stopped being self-conscious about it around year 3. His crew calls him G. He's the first to clock in, the last to leave. He and Derek share a father, Judge Harold Owens, 63, one of the most respected circuit court judges in the county. Different mothers. Gregory's mother, Clara, was a school librarian who read to him every night until he was 12. She died of ovarian cancer when Gregory was 19, 3 months from diagnosis to funeral. Harold remarried. Derek grew up in the big house on Ridgemont Lane, stone columns, circular driveway, gardener on Tuesdays. Gregory grew up in East Belmont. The zip codes are 9 miles and a different world apart. The brothers are close despite the gap. They fish together on the Rappahannock every October. They argue about football like it matters. Derek asked Gregory to be his best man before Gregory could say congratulations. Gregory said yes before Derek finished the sentence. At 3 in the afternoon, Gregory's phone buzzes. Burst water main, Elm and 4th. His deputy called in sick, 2nd time this week. Gregory looks at the tuxedo, looks at the phone. The water main won't fix itself. The crew is short. He dials his supervisor. "I'm on my way," he texts Derek. "Running late, overtime call. Save me a plate, I'll be there." Derek sends back a thumbs up and a heart. Gregory works the call out in the June heat, Virginia humidity that sits on the chest like a wet towel. Sweat darkens his polo from the collar down. His boots sink into the mud around the excavation site. He finishes at 5:45. His polo is soaked. His boots have mud caked to the sole. The tuxedo is hanging on a closet door 9 miles away, and the ceremony starts in 30 minutes. He does the math. There isn't enough time. He drives to the Ridgemont estate in his work polo, windows down. The evening air carries the smell of cut grass and warm asphalt. He He tells himself it doesn't matter what he's wearing. His brother will understand. He'll change into something later. It's fine. The framed photo of Clara sits on the passenger seat. Gregory takes it to every family event. He never explains why. He doesn't have to. He pulls into the Ridgemont Estate parking lot at 6:42. A valet in a black vest looks at his sanitation department truck, then at his polo, then at his boots. The valet reaches for a walkie-talkie. Gregory doesn't notice. He's already walking toward the garden. The outdoor ceremony is over. Guests drift from the garden toward the ballroom, heels clicking on flagstone, laughter carrying across the lawn, the scent of gardenias hanging in the humid air like a curtain. Gregory crosses the garden path. The grass is still pressed flat from 200 chairs. Rose petals litter the aisle where his brother stood and said his vows. Gregory missed them, but he's here. He enters the lobby. White marble, crystal chandeliers doubled in the polished floor, the hum of money and good manners. A hostess in a black dress stands behind a podium with a clipboard. Gregory gives his name. She scans the list, finds it, checks a box. He's in. He steps into the ballroom. 200 guests in summer pastels and pressed linen. Gregory is the only black person in the room. He is also the only person not in formal wear. His dark green polo, still damp, catches the chandelier light like an ink stain on a white tablecloth. He spots Derek across the floor. Tuxedo, grinning, one hand holding Samantha's and the other waving at an uncle. Gregory starts walking toward him. He doesn't make it. Brenda Caldwell steps into his path. 58 years old, mother of the bride, cream-colored dress, pearls, a smile that operates on a thermostat. She doesn't introduce herself. She looks at his polo. She looks at his boots. She says, calm as a hostess redirecting a lost delivery driver, "The service entrance is around the back, sweetheart." Gregory says, "I'm here for the wedding. I'm Gregory, Derek's brother." Brenda's smile doesn't shift a single degree. "Of course you are." She turns to the woman beside her and says, just loud enough, "The help is getting creative tonight." Gregory keeps walking. He is 6 feet from Derek when a hand lands on his shoulder. Troy Patterson, head of security. Ex-bouncer shoulders, earpiece, clipboard in his left hand. "Sir, I need you to come with me." Gregory says, "I'm on the guest list. I checked in at the front." Troy says, "Ma'am has asked us to escort you out. We can do this quietly." Before Troy finishes the sentence, Wade Harmon is already there, 45, Brenda's business partner. He steps directly into Gregory's path, one hand raised flat against Gregory's chest. "Hey, buddy. I don't know who told you about this event, but this isn't the place." Gregory says, "My brother is the groom." Wade smiles. "Sure he is." Then a second hand, this one on Gregory's elbow from behind. Philip Shelton, 52, Brenda's neighbor, Garden Society board member. He grips and steers. His voice is low, practiced, country club calm. "Let's not make a scene. Just walk out." 2 guests, then 2 guards. Gregory is boxed. 4 men, 4 points of contact. The ballroom goes silent. 200 people watch. Not one speaks. Not one moves. The string quartet has stopped. Champagne flutes hang in midair. 3 or 4 guests shift on their feet, forming a loose wall between Gregory and the dance floor. Not touching, but pressing with their presence, herding him toward the exit with the weight of a crowd that has chosen a side without saying a word. Gregory doesn't resist. He doesn't shout. He walks. His boots leave faint mud prints on the marble, each one a signature the cleaning crew will wipe before dessert. The ballroom doors open. The lobby passes, the front entrance, outside. The garden air hits his face, warm, thick, sweet with gardenias from the ceremony he never got to see. In the ballroom, a guest named Elaine Foster is holding her phone. She's been live streaming on Instagram for her college friends. The camera caught everything. Brenda's gesture, Wade's palm on Gregory's chest, Philip's grip on his elbow, Troy stepping in to finish the job, and the walk. 38 seconds of silence and shoe leather. The audio picks up one clear phrase from Brenda, spoken to no one and everyone. Before he ruins the photos. At the lobby door, Gregory turns back. Derek is pushing through the crowd. Their eyes meet across 60 feet of marble in silence. Derek mouths 2 words. "I'm sorry." The door closes. Gregory stands in the parking lot. The sun hasn't fully set. Fireflies pulse above the boxwood hedges. His truck is right where he left it. Clara's photo is on the passenger seat. He sits in the driver's seat for 11 minutes before he turns the key. Elaine Foster's live stream is still recording. She doesn't know it yet, but 2.1 million people are about to watch. Sunday morning, June 29th, 9 a.m. Elaine Foster's Instagram Live has been screen recorded, cropped, and reposted. By 9, it has 200,000 views. By noon, 800,000. By midnight, 2.1 million. The number keeps climbing the way water rises in a basement. You don't notice until it's at your knees. The video is 38 seconds long. That's all it takes. Wade Harmon's palm flat against a man's chest. Philip Shelton's hand clamped on an elbow. Troy Patterson stepping in with a second guard. 200 guests watching like marble statues. And the walk. Boot prints on polished stone, shoulders square, no resistance, no shouting. Just a man in a green polo being pushed through a ballroom he was invited to. The hashtag wedding while black trends for 16 hours. Comment sections fill with fury, disbelief, and personal echoes. This happened to me at a country club in Charleston. My cousin got stopped at a hotel lobby in his own building. They didn't even check the list. The algorithm picks it up and pushes it. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit threads with 14,000 upvotes. Facebook shares into community groups across 6 states. Monday, 11 a.m. The Ridgemont Estate issues a statement. We take the safety and comfort of all guests seriously. Our staff followed established protocols. We are reviewing the incident and will take appropriate action if warranted. No apology. No acknowledgement of race. No mention of the 2 guests who made first contact before security intervened. The statement is 112 words long. The word protocols appears 3 times. The word sorry appears 0 times. Protocols. Remember it. It will matter later. Brenda Caldwell's social media accounts go private by Monday afternoon. Her real estate firm scrubs her bio from the company website. Through a spokesperson, she issues 4 sentences. This is a family matter. I acted out of concern for the safety of the event. I had no knowledge of the individual's relationship to the groom. I have no further comment. She calls it a family matter, but she had Gregory removed precisely because she refused to believe he was family. Wade Harmon is identified in the video by Tuesday morning. His LinkedIn receives 300 comments in 4 hours before he deactivates it. His real estate development firm, Harmon & Associates, posts a statement. Mr. Harmon's actions at a private event do not reflect the values of this firm. They don't say which values. They don't say what his actions were. They say the word private twice. Philip Shelton deletes every social media account he owns within 24 hours. He says nothing. His silence is its own kind of statement. Gregory says almost nothing too, but his silence is different. He doesn't post. He doesn't give interviews. A reporter from the Richmond NBC affiliate finds him at a gas station on Tuesday afternoon. Gregory is filling the tank of his personal truck. The reporter asks for a comment. Gregory looks at the camera for 3 seconds. He says, "I just wanted to see my brother get married." That's it. 7 seconds. It goes viral on its own. 600,000 views by Wednesday. Not because of what he says, but because of everything he doesn't. The Richmond affiliate runs the story Tuesday evening. Wednesday, the AP wire picks it up. By Thursday, national outlets are calling. CNN runs a 60-second segment. MSNBC books a civil rights commentator who says the phrase social profiling 4 times. Through it all, one silence is louder than any headline. Derek Owens, the groom, has not made a public statement. He hasn't posted. He hasn't been interviewed. His honeymoon was supposed to start that Monday. He and Samantha are in the Outer Banks. The ocean is right outside the window. Derek spends most of his time on his phone, reading comments he can't answer and calls he doesn't pick up. Samantha sits beside him and says nothing. She knows what her mother did. She hasn't called Brenda back. The narrator notes this without judgment, but the audience feels it. A brother was thrown out of a brother's wedding, and the brother who stayed hasn't said a word. On Tuesday afternoon, July 1st, at 2 p.m., a woman in Richmond opens the Ridgemont Estates press statement on her laptop. She doesn't watch the viral video. She reads the statement. She counts the word protocols. She opens a new browser tab and types Belmont County Public Records. Her name is Nora Whitfield. She's 38, investigative reporter for the Belmont Courier. She doesn't write stories about viral videos. She writes stories about patterns. She picks up her phone and calls a number she found in a county employee directory. Gregory Owens answers on the 4th ring. Nora introduces herself. She asks one question. Has anyone from the venue contacted you to apologize? Gregory says no. Nora says, I didn't think so. Can we talk? Nora Whitfield doesn't chase noise. She chases paper trails, and she thinks she's found the beginning of one. Thursday, July 3rd. A political blogger in Richmond runs a routine background check on Gregory Owens, Belmont Springs. It takes less than 5 minutes. Belmont County Court Records. One name, Judge Harold T. Owens. A 2018 profile in the Virginia Bar Association Quarterly. 2 sons listed, Derek Owens, Gregory Owens. A photograph accompanies the article. Harold in his robes, one arm around each son at the annual Bar Association dinner. Both young men smiling. The family resemblance is clear. The internet recalibrates in real time. Headlines shift like tectonic plates. Wedding guests eject judge's son. Bride's mother ordered removal of groom's own brother. Garbage man thrown from wedding was best man and a judge's son. The man Brenda Caldwell called the help. The man Wade Harmon pressed his palm against. The man Philip Shelton steered by the elbow. He shares a last name with a sitting county judge. He was on the guest list. He was supposed to give a toast. Brenda's circle reacts like a building losing load-bearing walls. 3 members of the Garden Society resign their memberships within 48 hours. Her real estate firm issues a second statement, this time using the word unaffiliated. Wade Harmon's firm cancels a joint listing with Brenda's agency. The distance between allies grows with every headline. But the status flip cuts deeper than lineage. Because here is the thing the internet argues about for the next 72 hours. Gregory Owens is a garbage collector. That's his job. That's what Brenda saw, and she wasn't wrong about the uniform. She was wrong about what it meant. A reporter calls Gregory for comment. She says the word karma. Gregory corrects her. It shouldn't matter whose son I am. A garbage man has the same right to be at his brother's wedding as anyone else in that room. The quote circulates. It's not a soundbite designed for virality. It's a man saying something obvious that shouldn't need to be said. Judge Harold Owens makes no public statement. Through a court spokesperson, one sentence. Judge Owens is aware of the incident involving his family. He will recuse himself from any related proceedings. Harold is a man who lets the law speak. He taught Gregory the same discipline. Wade Harmon's past surfaces in the comments. Someone finds an old county record. He appeared as a defendant in a contract dispute in Judge Harold Owens' courtroom 6 years ago. He lost. The man whose chest he pressed his palm against is the son of the judge who ruled against him. The internet calls it irony. It might be something uglier. Philip Shelton, the man who gripped Gregory's elbow, lives 3 blocks from Judge Owens' home on Ridgemont Lane. They've nodded at each other at neighborhood barbecues. Philip once borrowed Harold's hedge trimmer and returned it with a thank you note. He never made the connection, or chose not to. Derek breaks his silence on Thursday evening. A single Instagram post, a childhood photograph, 2 boys on a dock at a lake, fishing rods in hand, one 6 years older than the other. No caption. 200,000 likes in 4 hours. The comments write the caption for him. The status flip satisfies the internet. The outrage finds a sharper edge. But Nora Whitfield isn't watching the comments. She's staring at a spreadsheet she pulled from a public records request. 14 rows, 18 months, and a pattern that has nothing to do with whose father is a judge. July 5th. Nora Whitfield files FOIA request number 2025-0618-RC with Belmont County. She requests all incident reports filed by or involving the Ridgemont estate for the previous 24 months. The request is 6 pages. She fills it out at her kitchen table at 11 p.m. with a mug of cold coffee and a yellow legal pad covered in shorthand. The records arrive on July 10th. She reads them the same night. The incident log is a spreadsheet. Columns for date, event type, individual description, reason for removal, and outcome. Nora scrolls through 18 months of data. She counts 14 removals under the category Dress Code Discretion. She cross-references the description column. Every single entry describes a person of color. Black male, mid-30s. Casual attire. Hispanic female, late 20s, deemed underdressed. Black male, 40s, uniform inconsistent with event dress code. 14 entries. 14 people of color. She checks for any white patron removed under the same policy in the same period. 0. The number doesn't require commentary. 14 and 0. The spreadsheet speaks in the plainest language there is. She reads a few entries aloud to herself. March 15th, 2024. Corporate gala. Black male described as wearing business casual in a black tie environment. He was a dentist. His host organization confirmed his invitation after the fact. No apology from the venue. November 8th, 2024. Private wedding. Latina female, cocktail dress, removed because she didn't match the guest list profile. She was on the list. January 22nd, 2025. Debutante ball. Black male wearing the venue's own catering uniform. He was a caterer's assistant employed by Ridgemont's contracted caterer. He was still removed. Nora sets the spreadsheet down. She calls a civil rights attorney she knows from a story she wrote 2 years ago. She says, "I have a pattern." Separately, Nora pulls Brenda Caldwell's homeowner association activity through public records. 3 formal complaints filed in 2 years. All 3 target homeowners of color in Brenda's subdivision. Complaint 1. Excessive noise during a gathering. The gathering was a child's birthday party. It ended at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. Complaint 2. Unapproved exterior modification. The modification was a welcome mat, a woven doormat with the family's last name. It was within HOA guidelines. The complaint was dismissed. Complaint 3. Suspicious vehicle parked on street. The vehicle was a rental car belonging to a holiday guest. It had valid plates, a rental sticker, and a parking permit on the dash. 3 complaints. 3 families of color. 3 dismissals. But the complaints themselves, the act of filing, of naming, of flagging, do their damage regardless of outcome. They're warning shots, disguised as paperwork. Then the email surfaces. Nora's source is a former Ridgemont employee, a bartender who left in April after what she describes as a culture I couldn't stomach. The bartender provides a forwarded email chain dated June 26th, 2 days before the wedding. From Brenda Caldwell to Russell Grant, General Manager of the Ridgemont Estate. Subject line, Saturday Security. The email reads in part, I want extra eyes at the doors. Derek has invited some people I haven't vetted. If anyone shows up who isn't on my list, not Derek's list, my list, I want them handled quietly. Russell Grant replies within an hour. Understood. We'll brief Troy and the team. Not Derek's list, my list. Brenda didn't react in the moment. She pre-planned the exclusion. 2 days before her daughter's wedding, she sent an email to ensure that anyone who didn't meet her personal criteria would be removed. The email doesn't mention race. It doesn't have to. Nora sits with the email for 3 days. She verifies the metadata. She contacts Russell Grant's office for comment. No response. She contacts Brenda's spokesperson. No response. She contacts the bartender again, walks through the chain of custody. The email is authentic. The timestamps check out. The language is Brenda's, clipped, commanding, accustomed to obedience. On July 12th, Nora drives to the Ridgemont Estate. She doesn't go inside. She sits in the parking lot for 40 minutes, counting cars, watching staff enter through a side door. She notes the security camera positions, 3 covering the front entrance, 2 in the lobby, 1 aimed at the garden path. She photographs the exterior from the public road. She writes in her legal pad, cameras everywhere. They see everything. They choose what to remember. Nora's article drops on July 14th, front page of the Belmont Courier's website. The headline, Ridgemont Estate's Discretion Policy, 14 removals, 1 pattern. The article includes the incident log data, 14 removals, 0 white patrons, presented in a chart. It includes the HOA complaint history. It quotes Gregory and 2 unnamed former venue patrons who agreed to speak on background. It does not include the email. Nora is saving that. A good reporter knows when to show the hand and when to hold the ace. Local television picks up the story that evening. The Richmond NBC affiliate leads with it at 6. The Richmond Times-Dispatch runs a follow-up the next day with their own records request, confirming the Courier's numbers. 3 event bookings at the Ridgemont Estate are canceled within 1 week, according to an anonymous venue employee. A 4th, a corporate holiday gala for a Richmond law firm, quietly moves to a different venue without public announcement. The estate's Yelp page drops from 4.2 stars to 2.1. The 1-star reviews cite the article by name. Russell Grant, the estate's general manager, breaks his silence on July 15th with a statement that reads like it was drafted by 3 lawyers and approved by none of them. Ridgemont Estate is committed to providing a welcoming environment for all guests. We are conducting an internal review of our guest screening procedures. He does not address the 14 removals. He does not address the 0. He uses the word committed and the word review and the word procedures. He does not use the word sorry. Gregory reads Nora's article at his kitchen table on the evening it publishes. Rudy lies at his feet, chin on Gregory's boot. Gregory scrolls through the 14 entries on the incident log. He reads each one slowly. Date, event, description, outcome. He didn't know about them. None of these people knew about each other. 14 separate humiliations, each one experienced alone, each one absorbed in silence, each one filed into a spreadsheet column and forgotten by the institution that caused it. He calls Nora at 9:15 p.m. His voice is steady, but slower than usual. "I thought it was just me." Nora says, "It's never just one person, Gregory. It never is." If you've ever watched someone powerful try to bury the truth, drop a comment below. Has it worked? Keep listening. The clipboard at the front desk, the one Gregory saw when he checked in at 6:42, fed the incident log. The incident log fed the pattern. The pattern is feeding the case. And the email Nora hasn't published yet will feed something else entirely. Nora's article has 400,000 reads in 2 days. The Belmont Courier's website crashes twice from traffic. Brenda Caldwell hasn't responded. But on July 18th, her attorney will. July 18th. The pushback arrives in legal letterhead. The Ridgemont Estates law firm, Crawford, Dunn and Associates, sends a cease and desist to the Belmont Courier's editorial office. The letter is 9 pages. It accuses Nora Whitfield of reckless disregard for proprietary business information, tortious interference with contractual relationships, and publication of unverified claims designed to inflict reputational harm. It demands retraction of the article within 72 hours and threatens a defamation suit seeking damages in excess of $2 million. Nora's editor, a man named Bill Stratton, who has run the Courier for 21 years, calls her into his office. He sets the letter on the desk between them. He doesn't kill the story, but he says, "Triple source everything from here. Every line, every number. I need this bulletproof, Nora." She nods. She expected this. Lawsuits are the price of proximity to the truth. The same week, Brenda Caldwell's attorney sends a separate letter, this one to Gregory Owens directly. It arrives in a plain white envelope at his East Belmont apartment. No return address on the envelope, just a law firm's name embossed in small gray type. Gregory opens it standing in his kitchen. The letter accuses him of making public statements designed to defame and harass Mrs. Caldwell and threatens legal action for irreparable harm to her personal and professional reputation. It demands he cease all media contact, retract any public statements, and issue a written apology within 14 days. Gregory reads the letter at his kitchen table. Rudy sits at his feet, chin on his boot. The letter is 4 pages of legal language that boils down to a single message. Stop talking, or we'll bury you in court costs you can't afford. Through counsel, Brenda Caldwell states her position for the record. Mrs. Caldwell maintains that she asked security to verify the credentials of an individual she did not recognize, and that any suggestion of racial motivation is entirely false and defamatory. She intends to vigorously defend her reputation. The statement is neutral. The intent is not. On July 21st, Gregory's supervisor at the sanitation department calls him into the break room. Someone has filed an anonymous complaint with city HR alleging conduct unbecoming a city employee and using a public position for personal publicity. The complaint contains no specific evidence. It cites no policy violation by name, but it triggers a mandatory review under city employment guidelines. Gregory is asked to refrain from media contact during the review period. Gregory has never sought publicity. He gave one 7-second comment at a gas station. The complaint was filed 2 days after Nora's article. Anonymous. No signature. No return address. The timing is precise. The narrator doesn't accuse. The timeline accuses for him. The walls are tightening. Nora's investigation slows. Her editor assigns a second reporter to assist. Everyone in the newsroom knows what that word means. Nora's source at the venue, the bartender, goes silent. Texts unanswered, calls straight to voicemail. The access that built the story is evaporating. Wade Harmon hires his own attorney. Through counsel, he issues a public statement. My actions at a private event were intended to maintain order. I acted on instinct to assist venue security. Any characterization of my conduct as racially motivated is categorically false, and I will pursue legal remedies against anyone who continues to make such claims. Philip Shelton says nothing publicly. Through his attorney, Mr. Shelton briefly made physical contact with an unidentified individual in an effort to de-escalate a potential disturbance. The contact was minimal and well-intentioned. The attorney uses the phrase de-escalate as though gripping a man's elbow and steering him toward an exit is a form of peacekeeping. Derek calls Gregory on a Tuesday night. His voice is hoarse, thinned by exhaustion. Samantha's crying every night. Brenda calls her every morning. She's caught in the middle. I don't know what to do, G. Gregory says, You don't have to do anything, D. This isn't your fight. But it is, and both brothers know it. At the sanitation depot, Gregory's crew treats him the same. They leave coffee on his dashboard. They don't mention the news. But management is different. His overtime requests are denied without explanation. His schedule is shuffled, moved from the Elm to Oak route he's driven for 6 years to a split route on the other side of town. Nobody says why. Nobody has to. Gregory hangs up the phone with Derek. He sits in the quiet of his apartment. He looks at the tuxedo still hanging on his closet door, the one he never got to wear, the one he bought with 4 Saturdays of overtime. For the first time since the wedding, he thinks about letting all of it go. Late July. The noise has stopped, not because the story is over, because the people who need it to be over are winning. Gregory stops answering calls from Nora. He goes to work. He comes home. Rudy follows him from room to room like a shadow that worries. Gregory eats, standing up at the kitchen counter. He showers with the lights off. He doesn't look at his phone after 8 p.m. One night, he drives to the sanitation depot after hours. Engine off. Parking lot empty except for the trucks lined up in their bays like sleeping animals. The dashboard clock reads 12:14 a.m. The overhead lamp buzzes. A moth circles it in tightening loops. Gregory reaches into the glove compartment and pulls out a photograph. Clara, his mother. The photo is old, 90s Kodak color, slightly faded. She's standing in front of the Belmont Springs Public Library with a stack of picture books under one arm. She's smiling at whoever is holding the camera. Gregory was probably 4. She read to him every night until he was 12, not because he couldn't read himself. He could by 7, but because the sound of her voice in the dark meant the world was still safe. She died when he was 19. Ovarian cancer. 3 months from diagnosis to funeral. She didn't complain about the pain. She complained about the books she wouldn't finish. Gregory holds the photo with both hands. His hands, calloused, scarred across the knuckles, nails that never come fully clean no matter how hard he scrubs. These are the hands Philip Shelton didn't want anywhere near his lapel. These are the hands that grip a steering wheel at 5:30 every morning so the streets of Belmont Springs are clean before the rest of the town wakes up. The parking lot light buzzes. The moth circles. The clock changes. 12:15. His father hasn't called. Harold Owens is a man of the law, and the law says he must stay removed from any proceeding. Gregory understands this. Understanding doesn't make the phone feel lighter in his pocket. At 1:30 a.m., his phone vibrates. Derek. I should have been faster. Derek's voice cracks on the last word. I should have stopped them before they touched you. I keep replaying it, G. I see you walking out and I'm just standing there, in my tuxedo. Holding a champagne glass, doing nothing. Gregory says, You didn't do nothing. You came after me. Not fast enough. Silence. Not the awkward kind. The kind between two people who've run out of ways to say something that doesn't have words. 3 minutes. 4. Neither hangs up. Somewhere in the background of Derek's call, a clock ticks. Gregory could stop. The HR complaint would fade. The lawyers would find other targets. Brenda would declare victory at her next Garden Society meeting. Nobody would blame him. He's a garbage collector in a fight against people who own buildings. He was never supposed to be in this ring. He looks at the photo of Clara, the library behind her, the books under her arm. She was a woman who believed every person's story mattered, not because of who their father was, but because they were a person. He hears her voice, not magical, not ghostly, just the memory of a woman reading out loud in a dark room. The words aren't clear. The feeling is. You don't have to shout. You just have to stay. Gregory is one phone call from walking away. What would you do? Tell me in the comments. Then hear what happens next. The next morning, Gregory puts on his work polo. He laces his boots. He drives to the depot. At 8 a.m., he calls Nora Whitfield back. August 1st. The tide doesn't turn with a single wave. It turns with 3 phone calls to the Belmont Courier's tip line, placed by 3 people who've never met each other and don't know Gregory Owens. Nora takes the calls herself. The first is a dentist from Richmond, black, 41. He attended a corporate gala at the Ridgemont Estate in March of 2024. He wore a tailored navy suit. Security pulled him aside in the lobby and asked to verify his invitation. His host organization confirmed him 20 minutes later. By then, he'd already been escorted outside. No one apologized. He drove home in silence and never told his wife what happened. The second is a woman from Henrico County, Latina, 29. She was a guest at a private wedding in November of 2024. She wore a black cocktail dress and heels. Security told her she didn't match the guest list profile. Her name was on the list. She showed them her ID. They still walked her to the door. She cried in the parking lot for 10 minutes and then drove to her mother's house and didn't talk about it for 3 months. The third is a young man from Belmont Springs itself, black, 24, a caterer's assistant at a debutante ball in January of 2025. He was wearing the venue's own catering uniform, black pants, white shirt, Ridgemont Estate logo on the breast pocket. He was still removed. His supervisor filed a complaint with venue management. The complaint was acknowledged and never answered. 3 people, 3 events, 3 variations of the same sentence. You don't belong here. Nora stacks the statements alongside the incident log. The pattern isn't a theory anymore. It's a chorus. On August 2nd, the Virginia chapter of the ACLU contacts Gregory's attorney, a civil rights lawyer named Dana Crawford, who took the case pro bono in mid-July. The ACLU sees a pattern case. They see precedent. They want to file for a civil rights injunction against the Ridgemont Estate. August 3rd. A small rally forms outside the venue. 50 people, no megaphones, no chanting, just feet on gravel and handmade signs. One reads, 14 names, 0 apologies. Another, check your list again. A child tugs her mother's sleeve and asks what injunction means. The mother kneels down and says, it means making someone follow the rules. Gregory is there. He doesn't speak. He stands in the back row wearing his dark green work polo. Someone recognizes him. A woman, the Latina from Henrico County, the one who cried in the parking lot, walks up and takes his hand. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't have to. Her handshake lasts 4 seconds and says more than any headline. Derek Owens makes a quiet move. A $5,000 donation to the Virginia ACLU chapter. Anonymous, but Nora finds out through a source. The brothers don't discuss it. They don't need to. The ACLU files for discovery. In the discovery request, they demand all security communications from June 28th. Radio logs, text messages, internal memos. Ridgemont's attorneys object. The judge overrules. What comes back will end this. August 8th. The discovery materials arrive at the ACLU's Richmond office in 2 sealed boxes. Dana Crawford opens them with a paralegal and a digital forensics consultant. Most of the contents are routine: shift schedules, vendor contracts, insurance forms. Then they reach the security radio log from June 28th. Audio files. 36 of them. Time-stamped. Archived on the venue's own server. Dana plays them in order. Most are routine check-ins, gate positions, bathroom breaks, a request for more ice at the bar. Then she reaches file 22. Timestamp. 1849 hours. 6:49 p.m. Troy Patterson's voice, clear and professional. Front desk confirms guest on list. Name Owens, Gregory. Checked in 1842. Gregory was confirmed. Verified. His name matched. The system worked. What happened next was not the system. Timestamp, 1850 hours. Troy's radio is still transmitting, open mic. A second voice enters. Not Troy's. A woman's voice. Close. Standing beside him. Dana leans forward. The paralegal stops typing. The voice belongs to Brenda Caldwell. The words are flat and unhurried, the way someone speaks when they're accustomed to being obeyed without question. I don't care who he says he is. He is a garbage man. Look at him. Get him out before photos. Dana replays it, then replays it again. The forensics consultant confirms. The voice is consistent with other recordings of Brenda Caldwell from public real estate seminars available online. The timestamp is authentic. The file has not been altered. He is a garbage man. She didn't guess. She didn't misjudge. She knew what he was, and that was enough. His job was his crime. His skin was his sentence. The recording is 11 seconds long. 11 seconds of a woman's voice, calm and certain, reducing a man to his work uniform and the color of his skin. 11 seconds that undo 2 months of legal letters, spokesperson statements, and carefully worded denials. In part 3, Brenda murmured, "The help is getting creative." A private aside, deniable, social. Here, on a recorded radio channel, she isn't whispering. She's instructing. The escalation from attitude to action is now time-stamped and archived in the venue's own system. Her own voice, her own words, stored on a server she paid to maintain. And there is more. Same box. A printed internal memo from Russell Grant dated January 2024. Subject line, Guest Screening, Discretion Guidelines. The memo is 1 page, single-spaced. It instructs security to use visual assessment to determine guest fit and to prioritize the comfort and expectations of the hosting party. It does not mention race. It does not mention color. It doesn't need to. The incident log, 14 people of color, 0 white patrons, is the memo's real language. The words on the page are camouflage. The numbers are the truth. Nora gets the call from Dana Crawford at 4:15 p.m. She's at her desk in the Courier's newsroom. She listens for 90 seconds. She sets down the phone. She picks it up again and dials Gregory. "We have it," she says. Gregory is in his truck, parked outside a convenience store on Elm Street. "Have what?" "Everything." The ACLU files the recording and the internal memo as exhibits in the injunction petition. Brenda's attorney requests a continuance. The judge denies it. The hearing is set for August 18th. For the first time in this story, Brenda Caldwell will not be the one giving orders. She will be the one answering questions, under oath, on the record, with her own voice playing through courtroom speakers. August 18th, Circuit Court of Belmont County, case number 25-CV-3041. The courtroom smells like old wood and floor polish. Fluorescent lights hum above rows of oak benches. The gallery is full. Reporters, community members, 3 people who drove from Richmond without telling anyone why. The clerk calls the case number. Chairs scrape. Everyone stands. Judge Harold Owens is not on the bench. He recused himself 6 weeks ago. Presiding today, Judge Catherine Moore, visiting from the 12th Circuit. Silver hair, reading glasses, a voice that doesn't rise or fall. Harold's absence is its own kind of presence. His portrait hangs in the hallway outside. Gregory takes the stand. He describes the evening in plain language, no embellishment, no performance. He describes the text to Derek, the overtime call, the drive, the check-in at the front desk, the walk across the ballroom, Wade's hand on his chest, Philip's grip on his elbow, Troy's arrival, the walk to the door, the 11 minutes in his truck. The ACLU attorney asks, "Did anyone at the venue verify your identity before removing you?" Gregory says, "No." "Were you asked to show identification?" "No." "Were you told why you were being removed?" "No, I was told the bride's mother wanted me out. That was the reason." The recording is played. The courtroom hears Brenda's voice through ceiling-mounted speakers. Every word lands like a stone dropped into still water. "He is a garbage man. Look at him. Get him out before photos." The playback ends. The courtroom is silent. A pen drops onto a legal pad somewhere in the gallery. That is the only sound for 6 seconds. Brenda Caldwell takes the stand. She is composed. Cream blazer, pearl earrings. She states that she was concerned about an unrecognized individual and that race played no part in her request. Her attorney walks her through her version, measured, rehearsed, careful with pronouns. On cross-examination, the ACLU attorney reads Brenda's own email from June 26th. "If anyone shows up who isn't on my list, not Derek's list, my list, I want them handled quietly." Then the recording plays again. Then the incident log appears. 14 names, 18 months, 0 white patrons. Brenda's attorney objects. Judge Moore overrules. Wade Harmon is called. He invokes the Fifth Amendment 3 times. Philip Shelton testifies. He admits he made brief physical contact. He calls it a guiding gesture. The ACLU attorney plays the video. Philip's hand clamped on Gregory's elbow, knuckles white. "That," the attorney says, "is not a gesture." Russell Grant testifies. He admits the discretion policy was never reviewed by legal counsel. He admits he received Brenda's email and acted on it. He admits he didn't question her authority to override the groom's own guest list. Judge Moore issues her ruling from the bench. Preliminary injunction granted. The Ridgemont estate is ordered to suspend the discretion policy immediately, submit to independent civil rights compliance training, and produce a revised guest screening protocol within 60 days. The court's written opinion will note, "The pattern of selective enforcement combined with recorded communications establishes a clear likelihood of discriminatory practice." September 1st. The Virginia Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation opens an ethics review of Brenda Caldwell's real estate license, citing conduct inconsistent with fair housing principles. The review is ongoing. Russell Grant resigns from the Ridgemont estate. The venue hires an independent civil rights consultant. Event bookings begin to recover, slowly, under new management and a new name on the welcome sign. Wade Harmon loses 2 commercial real estate contracts within a month of the hearing. Philip Shelton is asked to step down from the Garden Society board. He does, quietly. Gregory returns to work on a Monday morning. His crew has left a card on the dashboard of his truck. It reads, "Still the best driver in Belmont. Welcome back, G." He puts it in his locker next to the photo of Clara. On a Saturday in mid-September, Derek drives to East Belmont. He parks in front of Gregory's building. They sit on the front porch. Rudy lies between them. The evening air is cooler now. September in Virginia, the humidity finally breaking. Fireflies still come out, though. Same ones from the parking lot that night. Different context. Derek says, "You were supposed to be my best man." Gregory says, "I still am." A man in a dark green polo walks into a room. This time, nobody asks him to leave. Not because they know his father, because they know better. Gregory Owens collects garbage for a living. He is also a brother, a son, and a man who deserved to be at that wedding. One of those facts bothered them. None of those facts should have. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, and the next time someone tells you where you belong, remember Gregory Owens. He already knew.